has anyone got a comment to make or a question to ask or anything?
Jeff Butfield, here at last again.
Welcome, Jeff. You're on the phone?
Yeah. I couldn't get in on the computer. I don't know why.
Oh, I had trouble too. Yeah.
I'm a lot off. The new testing recommendations. Yep. Hooray, that's what we wanted in 2015. I will just comment, though, that how does someone get diagnosed, which is 3 rising PSAs in a row, but yet you've got to pay for the second 2 unless they're 2 years apart? I find this strange.
On your blood test request form, you're right that your father or a family member has had prostate cancer, and then it will be free.
Yeah, and if your father died young,
well,
from other things?
Your brothers had prostate cancer.
I have no brothers.
Well,
I'm just asking, you know.
Yeah.
I just see a hole here in the whole system.
Yeah, no, well, that's what people have been doing. So it is. It's a family member has had prostate cancer. And
I can see you'd have to lie, but why should you? And I personally get offended when they shove that form in front of me when I'm giving them a request form from a medical oncologist stating I have prostate cancer.
Yeah. It's a little bit annoying, I have to say, especially for us guys that have got advanced prostate cancer. So it is.
I find it offensive even.
Yeah. Well, one of our members, Yanni, he's on a cruise overseas at the moment, and he has quite regular blood tests, but he's never ever questioned about how regular they are by Medicare or anyone. So I don't know how hard they check on it or anything. So I don't, but I do know if you write a family history of prostate cancer on it, you won't hear any more about it.
Well, I don't hear any more about it anyway, but I just keep getting hit with this form every 3 months, which I object to. And occasionally I win, but not always.
Oh, right. So you've had to pay for some?
No, I haven't had to pay for them. They'd be hell to break loose if I did. I've got a form from a medical oncologist, a senior medical oncologist at the PA hospital, and yet I've got to fill out this other stupid form for their billing department. Yeah. Anyway, just me.
No. It's not just you. It's not just you at all. There's been a number of blokes complain about it, I can tell you. So there has. You're not alone in that department, so you're not. So yeah. So
no, this is if people are interested for men at age 40. Yes, which means that maybe in their family for them to become interested. I was found PSA of 50. A friend of mine was 100 at 46. He's still going to, and that was 14 years ago. That's a good idea. I have run into, but I see it not covered on this thing, that one baseline PSA test at about 45 would tell you whether you're going to need another one virtually for the rest of your life or not. But I don't know whether that still holds. That was one theory I saw, 5-6 years ago.
That wouldn't have worked in my case. That wouldn't have worked in my case.
Yeah. No, so, fair enough. Well, I'm not a doctor.
No, me either. None of us. Right, Jeff. Did you say you got to go?
No, but I'll pass over to someone else.
Oh, right. No, good to hear your voice anyway. Righto.
Yeah, got here for
Someone else like to make a comment on? Yes, Gabriel.
Yeah, just a question and a comment. The study that you mentioned, my apologies that I was late in this morning, but I don't seem to have received the link for that. So how was that distributed? How was that communicated? This is
it was mentioned at the Dubbo conference.
okay. So how do I access the video of the conference or that particular?
No, you won't get any video of the conference or anything. There was no video down there. So
Okay.
I just wrote that down when Natalie was speaking, and I just wrote down GOTEBORG.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
all about the Göteborg study of the PSA.
Yeah. And if you go into a Google search engine, it should come up for you.
And I've done that. No, that's fine. And the submission, the PowerPoint around the new treatment for bone marrow, what was that about again?
No, that's not a submission. That's just what Natalie was talking about.
Right.
If you combine lutetium to work on the metastases or the cancer in the flesh and the radium-223. Radium-223 is a bone nucleoside, so it kills the cancer in the bones and in the bone marrow. So it does, because a lot of recurrence comes from the bone marrow.
Right, sure.
So it does. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Absolutely.
What is the official position of whomever? Is it the Australian College of Medical Professionals, or is it PCFA in terms of PSA testing? My story is that I'm in my predicament because, well, it's not because, but I went to my doctor in my 50s because I was exhibiting symptoms with my urination and other things that I think were relevant to being watched with regard to prostate cancer or prostate health at the very least. My doctor talked about all sorts of things, but he didn't once mention anything about prostate health, nothing about PSA testing. I went to a doctor a couple of years earlier exhibiting similar symptoms. I would have been in my late 40s at that time. Nothing again. So 2 GPs said nothing to me about prostate health, nothing to me about PSA testing, to at least giving me the choice of regular PSA testing. And then I had infrequent PSA testings. I'm embarrassed to admit that they were 10 years apart. And when my PSA was tested last year, it was just sky high. And, the horse had bolted. My cancer had metastasized throughout my body. And so I left my GP because I felt that he failed me. And I'm with a new GP now. But I haven't really had a clear answer in terms of, is there a kind of an official position that doctors take in terms of helping men understand what they should be doing about their prostate health?
Anyone like to comment on that? Yes, Tony, are you going to say something?
Sorry. Yes, I could say quite a lot, but you effectively have to pick and choose your doctors these days to find ones who are sympathetic to a balanced view on this whole issue. PCFA sent me to a prostate cancer conference in 2010, just after I met Jim. And it was over in Chicago in America. And the first day of the conference was a PSA testing workshop. And the reason there was a workshop was that there was a lot of over-treatment going on from sort of rogue type urologists all over the place at that time. And radicals were being done everywhere. And lots of people were having treatment and getting the bad side effects of all of that unnecessarily. So the public health authorities in America wanted to try and stop this and change things, and they did. But they threw the baby out with the bathwater. The baby is us, people with advanced prostate cancer. And I was one of the ones who was asked to get up and make a submission from the floor after the lunch break, and I did that. And I could see that my argument about the fact that I wouldn't be there standing talking to them if I hadn't had a PSA test wasn't washing with them. They wanted to do this change. So now we've had all of this time in the meantime. There's all these monster surveys overseas, many of which were considered to be, or found to be, quite false in terms of their results. And PCFA here in 2016 did a little bit to try and bring things back and get a more balanced approach. And now they're doing a much more substantial effort to try and get something better in Australia. So that's the sort of the long, sad history of it all. In the meantime, worldwide, lots and lots of men have died unnecessarily, which is just tragic. But that's the wash up of it all. I think we need to try and support PCFA to do what they can do here in Australia and get a more balanced outlook. The whole over-treatment thing has been pretty much fixed, I think. Doctors now are much more open to sort of, different ways of looking at it. And we are in a much more stable state on that front. We have extra tools there like MRI that make the diagnosis process, I gather, more professional and more certain. So there's no real reason why people who are like us shouldn't get a vote in this thing from now on. So that's why I'm suggesting we should be supporting the PCFA in this as much as we possibly can. That's pretty much all I can say, I think.
Thanks very much, Tony. Gabriel, back in 2008, I was sent to a urologist because of a kidney function test and come away with prostate cancer. So I wasn't at the urologist for anything to do with prostate cancer, even though I'd been having PSA tests for years. And even just as an aside, regardless of what the outcome is in the future of PSA testing and all that sort of thing, there's going to be a certain number of doctors, I believe, that are going to watch PSA rise and 16, 20, that sort of thing, and not send somebody off to see a professional, see an oncologist or a urologist or whatever. I think that's going to be an issue down the track. I just don't know how you educate every single doctor in the country. So I don't. But that's just my personal opinion on that.
Yeah, thanks.
So
I understand. It was my bad luck in a sense that I got a dud of a doctor who didn't, at the very least, give me the option to think about what I should be doing. And, I totally trusted him. He'd been my GP for about 12 years.
Yeah, Gabriel, that's you're not alone. There's other men that we know of and you hear about in when you're doing handing out brochures and that at Farm Fest or wherever. You hear of other men in exactly the same situation, I can tell you for sure. And unfortunately, that's how it is. So, yeah.
If I can.
Yes, Doug.
Possibly. It's men that have been reasonably well through life, no other comorbidity things, that I'd say I possibly could have been like that, except I did have reason to be at the doctor quite regularly. If I didn't have high blood pressure, etc., that needed monitoring, I probably would have been missed. I'd say I could have been missed too because of ignorance, not knowing much about it. But I was fortunate. My GP, at age 50, PSA went on, and it wasn't until I was 59 that there was that increase they said was significant for age, only 4 to 5, 6, that was the trigger. And I wonder whether Tony and Gabrielle, you were fairly healthy generally and didn't have to go to your GP for any reasons.
Yep.
Tony here.
Yes, Tony.
I was reasonably healthy. I had slightly high blood pressure and things like that that are fairly common, but nothing beyond that. I was pretty much right as far as that's concerned. Just quickly then, in terms of what has to happen in conjunction with the PCFA thing is they have to have a program of awareness for men and education for GPs. They're absolutely essential in terms of moving ahead on this.
You're absolutely right, Tony. GPs have got to be educated as well. There's no question about that. I'd just like to welcome George and Tony Sheehan. Sorry, didn't do that earlier. Anyone else?
Jeff Upfield, I got to go too, I'm afraid. I've got visitors.
Righto, Jeff. All the best. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, I will give you a call, Nev. See you later.
Yeah, righto. Bye.
Bye.
Righto. Who'd like to go next?
Can anyone hear me?
No? Yeah.
Oh, this is Brian Liverton.
Welcome, Brian. I didn't welcome you before either. You're down in the corner of my computer.
That's okay. You gentlemen seem like as if you've had it for quite a long time. Mine's relatively new. And like most of you, you probably were fairly healthy and it just come out of the blue that you were diagnosed with prostate cancer. And I know they should test you, and I believe I thought that was nearly an obligatory thing now for doctors to do that when men turn 50. But you go to the doctor, and I go to a clinic, and over the years they change doctors. So unless you've got a specific local doctor, you're just you moved on to a next one, another one, and another one. And I guess that's where you get missed. But they'll test you for lots of things, but they never tested me. But when they did, they found that I did have that. But I just wanted to ask one question. Just recent, the last week or so, I've developed a rash, a severe rash around my back. Is that a part of prostate cancer, or is it an allergy to maybe the different tablets that I could be taking? Do you think? Has anyone?
You're on darolutamide, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I can speak to that. I'm on a daily dose of darolutamide, Brian, and I had rashes and skin problems for about a month to 2 months, and they went away. How long have you been on darolutamide?
Probably 2 months, 2 or 3 months.
Right. Okay.
But I haven't had the rash for that then.
Right. So the rash is relatively recent?
Yes. Yeah. The last few weeks. It was very similar to a rash that I had prior to being diagnosed with it.
Well, yeah, I can't say. I just, all I can say in my particular case, I had a lot of skin problems with darolutamide, and it was temporary in my case.
Yeah.
And as I said, it cleared up after a couple of months. It didn't start straight away. I'm a little hazy, but I think probably about a month in, and so much so that I was very sensitive to sun and so on, and they're all over my body, not just in one particular spot.
Yeah, well, this is mainly around my neck in the front and around my. It's a bit like shingles, I would say, similar to that. I've never being diagnosed with that, but it's sort of what I've read. And when I was having problems, I was reading a lot of stuff to see what it could have been. And I've got an appointment in a couple of weeks with the doctor anyhow. So, yeah. But I wondered if anyone else had that problem. Yeah.
Gabrielle might be the only one on the screen that's had darolutamide today, I'd say.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Anyway, we wish you well with that, Brian. So yeah, but it could well be the darolutamide that's causing it. So it could.
It may not be. My oncologist picked it immediately though when I showed her. So hopefully your oncologist will be able to do the same.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Righto. Any other questions or comments?
Not logged in properly.
I think I am now.
No one gonna question or a comment?
Pull the pin.
Yeah, exactly. There's some talking in the background. I don't know where that's. Oh, Jim's alive.
Number 5.
What did you say?
You're telling about the 2 Medicare numbers for prostate PSA tests. One where you don't have and one without, because I had an argument with Medicare years ago over that one. They put the wrong number on the form.
And Nev?
Yeah.
You'll have to explain that to me.
I just wanted to congratulate you on running one of the smallest, but certainly the shortest one we've ever had.
And if you hadn't come back on, we'd have been about to turn off.
Yeah, well, I'm about to turn. I just was passing the biggest one we've had was 250. The shortest one would be at least an hour and a half. Anyway, congratulations, Nev. I have to keep going. Bye.
Bye, Jim. So
Medicare for PSA tests. But they wouldn't pay out one for you.
There's some talking in the background and I can't hear what the question is. So anybody else got anything to add? Yes, Tony Sheehan. You'll have to turn your microphone on.
Am I on now?
Yeah, you're good now.
It's just a question I've got about bone density tests. Does anyone know sort of when you're eligible for a how long a time you need to serve before you're eligible for another free one? I thought it was 12 months, but sort of there seems to be a bit of confusion about that now.
2 years.
2 years, I think.
It's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Right.
So.
And it's exactly 2 years and 1 day when you can have the next free one.
Well, I've never had a free one.
Yeah, they're free. They're free if you get a docket from your doctor to the pathology, to the radiology section, and I get one every 2 years and 1 day, or 2 years and 2 days after the last one.
Fair enough.
And it doesn't cost me anything.
Well, thanks for that, because I asked that question and I wasn't getting a definitive answer off my GP, which I thought was pretty disappointing. And then I approached the clinic and they weren't able to give me a clear answer either.
It's 2 years, Tony.
It's
2 years and 1 day.
Yeah, well, don't forget the 1 day, Tony.
Yeah, because then it's 2 years after you had it, see?
It's a Tony Maxwell here. I've traditionally been getting bone density checks every 2 years. And I'm presuming that that's because my specialist doctor has specified that it should happen, or they know that I've got advanced prostate cancer. But I happened to be in my GP's office, who was a new GP, the other day, and I said, "Oh, I've probably got to have another bone density check." And she said, "Oh no, you can't get one for another 5 years after the last one."
Rubbish.
And that's just rubbish, obviously, but I'm sure it is 2 years, and you probably need to have some sort of notification to them, as you say, that you've got advanced disease, or your specialist is demanding it.
And
Yeah.
Jim here again.
Thanks, Dan.
Jim here again. If you're a co-host or failing that, anybody else, tell Nev when somebody's got their hand raised. Nev, Paul has his hand raised now and has for a while. I'll see you
has
all.
he? I can't even see him on me. Oh, there he is. He shifted in my screen. Sorry, Paul.
No worries. Yeah, with the bone density, yeah, because I said to my oncologist, "Oh, what about the bone density?" And he says, "Oh, well, you don't really need it." I mean, my oncologist is pretty damn good, but he said, "Yeah, no, I don't think you need it unless." So do you actually need it if you're not having any symptoms of any like brittle bones or anything?
Yes. If you're on Zoladex reduces your bone density.
Mm.
Men can lose bone strength the same as women. It's very worthwhile to check your bone density, and if you fall and your bone density is poor, then it's recorded that a lot of people within 6 months die of a fall. So it's not hard to have a bone density test. It's only a series of photographs, really, or x-rays taken across your hips and your spine, and I have them every 2 years. I was having them every year when the Garvan Institute was having a survey in Dubbo, and my mother died of osteoporosis because she wasn't making any bone, and we had to give her morphine to relieve the pain of her bones breaking, and the morphine affected her liver, and of course that killed her. But if she'd have known 10 years earlier that her bones were deteriorating just due to a hereditary thing, I think, then she would have maybe lived till she was 90, but she only lived till she was 82.
And the other thing, my GP, I said, "Oh, can I get a bone density check?" And I can't exactly remember, but I think she said something like, "Well, at my age, it's not free," or something to that effect. Like, I'm 61.
I would talk to another GP, or I'd check it out. But it's very important to keep your bones strong, because it's like the frame of your shed. If the white ants eat out the posts, then it falls over. And you're really getting, it's like having white ants in your skeleton.
And I know Nev has said, I think it's Nev, it's you, that said, like that the resistance training and all that's really good as well for the bone strength. So, but what else, what would they give you if they find out your bones are getting brittle?
Well, you take a Fosamax tablet every week.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can have a Fosamax injection every 3 months, I think.
but I just like the tablet every week, and then you've got control of it. And every Sunday morning, have a Fosmax. My bone density, even though I have, from my mother, I'm probably going to lose a bit of bone density, and I'm on Zoladex, my bone density is slowly rising. And the doctor is fairly happy with my bone density.
Yeah, I can see
Jim's
it,
got
Jim.
his hand up.
Yeah. Yes, Jim.
Okay. One reason to have it is as a baseline.
Yes.
Because you can't tell whether the treatment is causing the problem unless you know what the baseline is. The second thing is that although resistance exercise will fight the cancer and it will keep you alive longer and so on, it does not help with the bones. With the bones, you have to have thumping exercises. What happens when you thump your bones is there's a tiny bit of damage, and that the body automatically repairs that tiny bit of damage. So you have to thump it. Now, the gentlest thumping you can give is a long walk. One of the chappies that I spoke to in Mates Connect, he was jumping rope. He was 3 years old and he was skipping, jumping rope every day. Now, he had been a boxer and he just kept it up all his life. But thumping, anything that makes you thump. You don't have to jump, and you don't have to jump high. But if you look for the South Australian, if you look, no, sorry, Western Australia.
Western Australia.
Yeah. I've forgotten the name. Someone will get it for you. But look at for the exercise programs that they have. And
Elizabeth Cowan University.
Edith Cowan, yes.
Edith, yes.
And if you see the videos, they have little hurdles.
Yes. Just hop around like a frog on the back veranda. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, but at least add walking to your daily routine. And one of the easiest ways to do that is if you catch any transport besides your own car, to walk to the next stop past the one you want. But anyway, sorry to interrupt again, and I better get my business again.
Thanks, Jim. Ross has been with us for a while. I didn't welcome you, Ross. Welcome here today. Good to see you.
Thanks, Nev.
Yes, Tony Maxwell.
Yeah, just a further comment on the whole issue of the bone density and whatever. I was diagnosed with advanced cancer back in 2003, and because they didn't have very much in the way of exercise then, and I'm a lazy bastard anyway, they put me onto a treatment called Zamita, which sort of boosted my bone density, which was down a bit at that point, up to a more normal level. And then since then, for the last 20 odd years, I've been taking pretty much one vitamin D tablet each day. That keeps my vitamin D level in the upper half of the vitamin D range in your body. And my bone density's done every 2 years. Have always been normal since then. So to me, that seems a fairly simple way of handling it. I went on a rough track bushwalk about a week ago, tripped and fell and bounced off the ground. And I've got some I had some sore muscles, but I didn't have any broken bones. So I think keeping your vitamin D level at an appropriate level, not mainlining on it or taking mega quantities of it, but when you have a blood test done, vitamin D is one of the tests they do, and just keep it in that upper half of the range with a vitamin D tablet or 2 each day, and that seems to fix the problem as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Thanks, Tony. Last time I had my blood test done a couple of months ago, my vitamin D levels had come down to below 100, so I've started taking vitamin D again. But I have a Prolia injection every 6 months, denosumab in the Prolia form, and that's every 6 months to improve my bone density. I'm not due for another bone density test till about this time next year. So yeah, but I've been having one every couple of years for a long time. So I have. So yeah, and what you get is a graph with a green, a yellow, and red horizontal lines, and it will show you where your bone mineral density is. If it's in the yellow, it's really good. If it's in the green, you might, and depending on whether it's in the high area of the green or the low area of the green, you might need to take some medication. And if it's in the red, well, you'll need to talk to your doctor about that. So you will. How long have you been on ADT, Paul?
Yeah, sorry. I was diagnosed last year in May, so I had my treatment in June, so that I've been on it since then.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
I still do a lot of exercise, like that thumping exercise you're talking, and like running, and so yes, I mean that all helps, but obviously you're looking, and I take the vitamin D as well. So
right. Yeah.
But I was wanting to get that baseline check for the bone density, and my doctor said, "Oh, well, you'll have to pay for it." I mean, I'm happy to pay for it, but I just wondered if that was, and then just with my oncologist making that comment, but maybe with the tests he does every 3 months, the medical oncologist, maybe the tests he does, I know it checks for more than the PSA, so it checks for the different how it's affecting the other organs and that. So maybe that measures how it affects the bones as well. I'm not sure, but he just says that everything's okay, but he hasn't actually said to me, "Oh, your bones are okay." But, yeah.
If you're on hormone treatment, you need a bone density check to be done, and I would suggest that GP is just ignorant rather than being negative about it. You need to get advice from your specialist or whatever on that.
I think it costs about $200.
Yeah, so, I'll just get it done.
Yeah. Yes, and as Jim said, you need a baseline one anyway, so you do.
Yeah.
So, it's good to have it. Probably don't have to have one, but it's good to have one. That's for sure. So it is. Were you wanting to say something, Doug?
I was holding up a bone density, but
right.
I think it's much good to anyone there.
No, I can't really get it. Can't get it in the right spot. I could see the red, but I couldn't see any of the other colours.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for trying.
Right.
Anyone else got any comments or questions? How are you doing, Ross?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Nev. I've been on ADT now for 18 months, so Lucrin plus darolutamide,
right?
And I'm handling both okay. In terms of bone scans, I had one as part of a clinical trial that I was thinking of joining but didn't join 2.5 years ago. So I've got a baseline bone scan that I can check up on. And I think I would be talking to the oncologist, who would probably have a better handle of what's going on regarding prostate cancer than most GPs do.
Yeah.
I think other than that, I'm doing okay. And of course, my big question now is PET PSMA scans can't see anything. It must be less than 4 mil. And I'm just waiting and hoping that I stay, that I don't become castrate resistant, because of course that I talked to the oncologist and he says, oh, between 2 and 10 years. So I've got, well, that's a pretty big window. So I'm hoping 10.
Take the 10.
Yes. Thanks, Ned.
Good stuff. Thanks, Ross. Any further questions or comments? Rightio. If there's no more questions or comments, I hope you all got the PowerPoint thing and can have a look through it. I'm sorry Jim's not able to show it here today. He's not well enough to do it. So, but anyway, but if you've got, yes, Jim.
Yeah, I just I just logged on to say goodbye to everybody.
Righto.
I'm listening in the background when I can. Okay.
Yeah, righto.
It's carrying that extra year of age, Jim.
Yes. So at 80 years, I can say that my bone mineral density, there are 2 measures taken. One is sort of your thigh, and one is hip or whatever, and the other one of your, I've forgotten, the 2 measures. And in one of those, hey, say again, Doug?
Neck.
Yeah, with one of those, my density is equivalent to an 18-year-old man, and on the other, it's well ahead of the average 18-year-old man. So at least one of the bits of me seems to be working. Okay, thanks, Nev.
The rest of your body's not, though.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. All the best. Bye.
Nev, just a quick question.
Yeah, yes, Ross.
I'm sorry I arrived late. I had another thing I had to do, but I missed out on that PowerPoint. You talked about a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
How do I get hold of that?
I don't know whether I've got your email address, Ross. I might only have a mobile phone number, and I can't send it on a mobile phone.
Okay, so how do I get you my email address?
I'll have a contact for you. I must have sent you a phone message to say the meeting was on.
No. I got it off the old website that Jim put up many moons ago.
Right.
I closed that one down yesterday.
Right. Well, I'll tell you my email address is very simple. It's rosschapman100@gmail.com.
Rosschat. ROSS Ross. Ross Chapman.
Case, no full stops. rosschapman100@gmail.com.
Righto. Thanks,
Thank you
Ross.
very much, Nev.
Yep. I'll see how I go.
Okay.
Righto. Thanks, everybody, for your attendance today.
Thanks all.
Yeah. And check the PowerPoint out. Righto. All the best. Bye.